What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Jody Dean here, Mr. Hunting the Dead. Welcome to another video. So today we are going to talk about the Gainesville Ripper, Danny Rolling. Okay, so this American serial killer murdered 5 students in Gainesville, Florida over a 4-day period in late August 1990. In total, Rolling confessed to killing 8 people. Okay, guys, so it went something like this. In the early morning hours of Friday, August 24th, Rolling broke into the apartment shared by 17-year-old university freshmen Sonia Larson and Christina Powell. Finding Powell asleep on the downstairs couch, he stood over her briefly but did not wake her up, choosing instead to explore the upstairs bedroom where Larson was also asleep. Rolling murdered Larson, first taping her mouth shut to stifle her screams, and then stabbing her to death. Okay, it's going to get a little hot in here, guys, and this is pretty graphic, so if anybody wants to turn back now, please go ahead and do so. She died while trying to fend him off. Rolling then went back downstairs, taped Powell's mouth shut, bound her wrists together behind her back, and threatened her with a knife as he cut her clothes off of her. He then raped her and forced her face down onto the floor, where he stabbed her 5 times in the back. Rolling posed the bodies in provocative sexual positions. This guy is a sick fuck. But this is what really took the cake, okay? Before leaving, this guy took a shower in her apartment. One day later, on Saturday, August 25th, Rolling broke into the apartment of 18-year-old Krista Hoyt, prying open a sliding glass door with a kabar knife and a screwdriver. Finding she wasn't home, he decided to wait for her until she returned when he would do his crime. At 11 a.m., Hoyt entered the apartment and Rolling surprised her from behind. Placing her in a chokehold after she had been subdued, he taped her mouth shut, bound her wrists together, and led her to the bedroom. He then cut her clothes from her body and raped her. God, this just gets more ass-clenching by the second. He then forced her face down and stabbed her in the back, rupturing her heart. He then decapitated the body and posed her head on a shelf, facing her corpse. At this point, everybody was in a frenzy. The media was all over this thing, and the word had spread through the area like a wildfire. A lot of students in that area withdrew their enrollment. A lot of students transferred. A lot of people were staying at hotels. They weren't even staying at their houses. It was a pretty crazy time. I cannot tell you how often we are in Gainesville. We live very close to Gainesville, and there has always been some kind of crazy energy that surrounds that area spiritually. Me being from the paranormal field, it's something I can feel as soon as I roll into the town, and I think that's what's so attractive to it for us paranormalists. But when you hear things like this, you can't help but wonder what kind of residue is hanging out from heinous crimes in individuals like this. 23-year-old Tracy Paulez was living with Manny Tabata, also 23, her roommate. On Monday 27th, Rolling broke into the apartment by prying open the sliding glass door with the same tools he used previously. Rolling found Tabata asleep in one of the bedrooms, and after a struggle with the young man, eventually killed him. Hearing the commotion, Paulez went down the hall to Tabata's bedroom and saw Rolling. She attempted to barricade herself in the bedroom, but Rolling broke through the door. Rolling taped her mouth and wrists, cut off her clothing, and raped her before turning her over and stabbing her 3 times in the back. Rolling posed Paulez's body, but left Tabata's in the same position in which he had died. With the exception of Tabata, all the victims were Caucasian brunettes with brown eyes. It seemed that this was his focus point in these crimes, were these girls that fit this description. Now, Edward Humphrey was brought in as a suspect due to mental illness, scars on his face. For some reason, this guy was a person of interest, but he was later cleared and let go after Rolling was brought in for an arrest. Okay, so later on, September 7th, 1990, Rowling was arrested in Ocala on a burglary charge, and in the course of that investigation, his tools were matched to marks left at the Gainesville murder scene. His campsite was next to the victim's apartments. He knew what he was doing. He had a plan. He was watching these people. He knew exactly what he was going to do and how he was going to do it. Okay, if this wasn't bone-shattering enough, the investigators found recordings of this guy singing fucking country songs and confessing to these murders. He made like an audio diary telling what he had did, and this was the evidence that they needed to put this son of a bitch away. He was then charged with several accounts of murder. In 1991, Rowling was brought to trial at the Alachua County State Attorney. Lynn registered nearly 4 years after the murders. He claimed his motive was to become a superstar, similar to Ted Bundy. Wow. Wow. Before his trial could get underway, Rowling unexpectedly pled guilty to all charges. Subsequently, State Attorney Rod Smith presented the penalty phase of the prosecution. Rowling was sentenced to death on each count during his trial. It's too good for him, man. They should have just fucking hung his ass right there in the courtroom and shot him 100 times. I mean, that would have been too good for him. Rowling was diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and paraphilia. So, I mean, this guy, he's the true definition of what sick is. And what he did and the mark that it's left in this world is terrible. Our kids should not grow up in a world where they have to hear about these kind of stories. Placing victims to look at their own corpses. Some of the things he did, I mean, horror movie creators couldn't even think up. Okay, so finally for Rowling's death. Rowling was executed by lethal injection at Florida State Prison on October 25th, 2006, after the U.S. Supreme Court rejected a last-ditch appeal. Thank you. Rowling was pronounced dead at 6:13 p.m. Rowling's last meal consisted of a lobster tail served with drawn butter. Are you fucking kidding me? Butterfly shrimp with cocktail sauce, a baked potato with sour cream and butter, strawberry cheesecake, and sweet tea. Oh my God. Rowling sang a gospel hymn before his death, but he issued no last statement. And what could he say? There is no coming back from what he did. There are no words that anyone could say to make what he did feel any remorse for him. Or there's no words he could say that could truly show that he was remorseful for what he did. Sorry is not enough. This guy truly deserves to burn in hell, and hopefully he's been burning pretty good. So even though he didn't issue a last statement, he did confess to murders previously before his death of the Grissom family in Shreveport. So it turns out, I mean, this guy killed more people than what we know, than what's out there, and he could have killed a lot more people than what he even told us. I mean, he was really, really becoming second nature to the knife, to murder, and what he did so easily. And I think that's what really sticks out about this case. They say that this story even inspired movie creators to write the film Scream. You know, the last thing I would ever want to do is give this guy a fucking voice. I think that people need to hear these stories, though, and I think this is something that I'm looking forward to bringing to my channel here. I don't know if I'm going to do it maybe once a week or a few times a week or whatever, but it's something that I want to start doing because there's so many of these stories out there. I feel like it does help to know what kind of people you have to look out for in this world. Now, like I said, I don't want to give this guy a voice, but I am going to end this video, and I will always end these videos with a spirit box session trying to contact this sick son of a bitch. And I tell you for why. Because I want to hear what somebody burning in hell sounds like. I think that we deserve to hear that, and I hope that's how he sounds. I hope he is in the pain that he has caused to people after all this time and during the time that all these crimes were committed, and the fear that it still lives in people today. I think that he deserves where he is at right now. Danny Rolling, I want you to tell us, why did you do what you did? That was the same voice. Wow, those were some pretty chilling responses that we captured there in that short period of time. Guys, this is something new that's coming to the channel here. It has to do with death. It has to do with spirits, because death has to do with spirits. When we die, we do become a spirit. If you like these videos, be sure to subscribe. Leave comments below. Share the videos. Leave a big like. Let me know what you want me to do next, who you want me to do next. There's some people that I have in mind, and I'm looking forward to hearing suggestions. So if you want to grab Hunting the Dead merchandise, htd4life.com. Become a patron at Hunting the Dead on Patreon today. Thank you.